I think it was a political season around here with everybody talk and chat. I'd like to welcome everybody to our third breakfast briefing of 2019. I'd like to first thank Hornbeck Offshore for so generously offering this space for our event this morning. My name is Hunter Hill. I'm a member of the BGR board and I chair the breakfast briefing committee. The BGR is a nonprofit, nonpartisan public policy research firm dedicated to informed policy making and the effective use of public resources. BGR's reports identify opportunities and solutions on high leverage issues in our local governments. We also monitor more than 70 government entities across Jefferson, Orleans, and St. Tammany parishes. BGR's goal is the improvement of government in the greater New Orleans area. Our breakfast briefings further BGR's mission by allowing citizens and policymakers to discuss the issues that affect all of our lives. We hope you will take advantage of the question and answer portion of today's program. At your tables is a flyer with instructions for submitting questions using the Slido website. Today's event code is #F607. If you prefer to write your question, you can do so. If you would please write it and hand it in a minute at the end of the program. One of the BGR staff members will come by and pick it up. And please include your name if you wish to be identified. The best way to stay on top of all the BGR events and research is to become a member. We regularly engage with our members about our public policy work. BGR values this dialogue and we appreciate our members' support in amplifying BGR's good government recommendations. If you're not currently a member, visit bgr.org and consider joining the ranks of concerned citizens working to improve local government. And finally, I'd like to encourage everyone to get your tickets to the BGR 2019 annual luncheon. The luncheon will be held on Friday, November 7th at 12 o'clock at the Marriott Hotel on Canal Street. This year we have a very exciting presentation from Michael Lewis. It's themed A Conversation with Michael Lewis, author of The Big Short, The Fifth Risk, Moneyball, and other best-selling books. Mr. Lewis will share his thoughts and insights with us in an interview with local journalist Gordon Russell of the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate. And to purchase a table or tickets to the BGR luncheon on November 7th, please visit our website. Again, that was bgr.org, and then you'll see the luncheon there. And now to introduce our topic this morning is Dennis Woltering. You know Dennis, it's WWL-TV's former anchor. He continues to serve our community and is an active member of the BGR board. With that, Dennis, and we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Hunter, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to express my gratitude to Iberia Bank for its generous sponsorship of BGR's Breakfast Briefing Series in 2019. Their support allows BGR to make these events open and free to the public. I would also like to acknowledge BGR's President and CEO, Amy Glavinsky, and BGR's award-winning staff. They do a fantastic job of planning and executing these quarterly events. When Trey Folse began his career in the St. Tammany Parish Public Schools 35 years ago, the parish had about 130,000 residents. Today, its population is twice that size, and its school system is the fifth largest in Louisiana, with 39,000 students in 55 schools. Since Mr. Folse became superintendent in 2010, the St. Tammany school system has remained one of the best in Louisiana. It's the highest ranked among the large school systems in the state, and it's one of the most financially stable as well. The school system recently won voter approval for tax funding to make new facility investments and tackle initiatives to address school safety and mental health needs. Even with its success, the St. Tammany school system faces several challenges. One is the task of responding to the parish's steady population growth. The school system must also meet tougher state standards for academic performance, which reduced its letter grade from an A to a B. And the system must recruit and retain high-quality workforce amid slow growth in state funding. Here today to discuss the current issues and paths to future success for the St. Tammany Parish School System is its superintendent, Trey Folse. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Folse. The floor is yours.
Good morning. I don't know if we need this turned on.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Good morning, everyone. When he said 35 years ago, I had to remember. I see Chris. Where's Chris? Chris comes in. He was on my JV basketball team at Salmon High School, and now he's working with Slidell PD, and I'm really proud of him. But it just reminded me of 35 years and everything that goes on with that. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the support that everyone has. For someone who was born and raised in St. Tammany Parish and has been here my whole life, a product of the school system, my grandparents, my parents, and my children, all graduates of Slidell High School, this is an amazing opportunity for me to come and share with you some of the successes, as well as what Mr. Dennis said, the challenges that we have in front of our school system. So we have a PowerPoint with some slides. It's just some really big picture stuff that I wanted to share with you, and then of course we can do any questions we have, so we'll start with that. If you're a school system, you have to have a theme. Our theme this year is leading the way. And we want to talk about, and what we want to do this year is lead the way in many different ways, not just letter grades, not just test scores, but everything that goes into meeting the needs of a child in our school system. Here's our administrative team. Amy LeMaine is our new assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction. Certainly challenges in that area each and every day. Mike Kosei is assistant superintendent for administration. And then the associate superintendent is here with me today. This is Pete Javier. This is his 52nd year in our school system. 52nd year in our school system. Pete was my 7th grade math teacher in junior high school. I still struggle with budgets because of what he didn't teach me. We had there was a new teacher orientation at the start of this school year, and Pete was one of the speakers. And at the end, somebody raised their hand and said, 52 years, can you give us some words of wisdom? He was, always be nice to your students because you just never know. So that's our administrative team, and all of you are in the business that you know you're only as good as the people that work with you. And I will put these 3 other people up against anyone, anywhere. One of my favorite sayings is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. So there's nothing wrong with having people that are smarter than you. There's nothing wrong with having people that have ideas to you. But at the end of the day, all of us need people that can work with us and be loyal to us and support us. And this is a great group, and I'm very, very proud of them. Another great group that I'm very proud of and happy to work with are our school board members. And we have quite a few of them here today. If y'all could raise your hands, maybe school board members, hopefully you'll get to see them. Thank you so much for coming this morning as well. You know, I go around the state and I talk to a lot of people and share with other superintendents, and the relationship that we have with our school board is special. It's not like that everywhere. We have a relationship where we all want to do the same thing. We want to do what's best for students. Do we agree on everything? Absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with that. But I can promise you it will always be in a respectful way. It will always be working together. So I know I'm blessed to have these 15 people as our school board members and the job that they do every day. Their role is not to be any other elected official, any other office. They want to be a school board member doing what's best for the students of St. Tammany Parish. So some big picture numbers, Mr. Dennis talked about a little bit. 55 schools, 39,000 students. We're the 5th largest school system in the state of Louisiana, and almost 5,800 employees. The 5,800 employees make us by far the largest employer in St. Tammany Parish, by far. So we have a lot of people in our system representing our system. These 39,000 students represent about 28 or 29,000 homes. So each and every day, we're making contact with that many people, making a difference in this community, being a part of this community and doing what we can to make St. Tammany Parish the best that it can be. So big picture. Another big picture. 29% of our students are minority, 2% limited English proficiency. The next number surprises a lot of people. The free and reduced population. 43% of our kids qualify for free or reduced lunch. And when I speak to a Rotary or a Kiwanis or a different business council or something like that, that number surprises a lot of people. We think about affluent St. Tammany Parish, but there are certainly pockets of the parish that are not like that. And I can tell you that there are challenges that go with that. For some of these students, the best 2 meals they get all day are the 2 that we serve. And for some of the students, the best transportation they have all day, those big old 352 yellow school buses that we have going up and down the road. And unfortunately for some of these kids, the only good job, I'm proud of you, give me a hug, I love you, comes from the teacher in the classroom. But like I told the teacher, what an unbelievable responsibility that is, but at the same time, what an unreal privilege that is to be the person that can do that for these students. 1,700 gifted students, 1,000 talented, close to 7,000 of our students are other exceptionalities. A week does not pass where someone doesn't come up to me and said, I moved to St. Tammany Parish to put my special needs child in your school system. Happens to me all the time. Is it more expensive? Absolutely. Is it require more personnel? Absolutely. But if we don't do it, who will? Isn't that the role of a public school system? To be there for every child every day? We don't pick and choose. We don't say, oh, you're handicapped, you can't come. We don't say, oh, your mom's in jail, you can't come. Every child every day. 4 simple words, every child every day. And that's what we believe in. And I know that's what every one of these school board members believes in as well. Big picture again, general fund budget, you can see $440 billion. This is how it's broken up. 77% of it comes from instructional, 8% transportation. I mentioned we have close to 360 buses on the road each and every day. Maintenance, administration, you can see how the funding is broken up. Less than 1% comes from the federal government. State supplies 50%, 0.3, and local is 49.5. The local continues to grow, the state continues to go down. Very blessed, and we're going to talk about in a second, the support of the taxpayers of St. Tammany Parish. So these are some big picture numbers there as well. Many of you were involved in this, many of you supported this. Our initiative to secure our future in this past May, we passed this millage renewal with 65%. 65% approval rating tells you a lot to get that kind of number for this kind of information. And it just shows, I believe, our track record of doing it right, our track record of taking the money that's given to us and spending it properly, and the track record of support that we have within our community. So I mentioned, here's our theme, and here's some of the words that we want to live by this school year. We're leading the way for student success is our responsibility, our commitment, and as I mentioned to those new teachers, our privilege as well. We want to provide innovative technology and instruction, preparing students today for the opportunities tomorrow. So let me share with you a little bit of what we're doing with that. Technology. Seems like every time we get somewhere, something new comes out. And every time you spend some money, there's something you can do better. What we're trying to do right now is increase our Wi-Fi capabilities in the school and create that network so we can be strong across that as well. We're also expanding for the first time ever Chromebooks into the schools, into the grades, 4 through 12 this year. Every 4th grader, every 5th grader will be getting a Chromebook, and we'll continue to grow them with that. We're dealing with some challenges with that. Some students don't have Wi-Fi at home. Some students don't have the capability to charge their Chromebook. Some of them, we have to take care of the Chromebook. So there's been some challenges rolling that out. But we're doing 4th and 5th grade right now. Most of our state testing comes on laptops. So the more you can be familiar with the computer, the better you should hopefully do on your test as well. We want to make sure that students, when they're tested, they're being tested on their knowledge and not whether they can use a computer or not. So we need to work hard on that, and our teachers are certainly spending a lot of time with that as well. So the Chromebook initiative has been very exciting. And remember, 43% of our students free and reduced lunch. First time some of them have ever had a laptop. You should see the look on their face when you put a laptop in front of them and how excited they are about it. Now they all have a cell phone no matter what. But a laptop is a story. We're leading the way to provide a safe and supportive environment for our students and employees. I had a superintendent's meeting yesterday. We went around the table. The talk was, what's changed in the last 5 years, the most that you can see? What do you think it was? Safety and social media. The 2 topics that came up the most were school safety and security and the challenges that go with social media. So what we're doing with school safety and security is this. We have added mental health providers and school resource officers in details at each and every one of our 55 schools. That happened over the summer. That is an amazing accomplishment for this school system, and it speaks to the work of Pete Jabby, and Mike Kosei, and every law enforcement person in this room. So I want to just stop and say again publicly to everyone, thank you, law enforcement. Many of them are here today. What you did for us, what you did for the children of the school system to make this happen over the summer is unbelievable. So can we So we have a school resource officer or a detail in each and every one of our schools, and we have a mental health provider in each and every school. Think about that. A mental health provider that does nothing but mental health work. When we were rolling this out over the summer, media, news coverage, all that, wanted to talk about the SROs and the police, which were very important. But I truly, truly believe the mental health component of that will be just as important. We all know the mental health challenges in St. Tammany Parish for the adults. So it's no different for students and children. So these mental health providers are at the school all day, every day. We're very, very strict. They don't do bus duty, they don't do lunch duty, they don't do any other responsibilities, but be a mental health provider that's there for their students at their school and their employees. And then each one of these mental health providers is training their own team at their school, whether it be a school secretary, whether it be another teacher, whether it be another administrator, to build a team of mental health providers at each and every school. I'm super excited about that. Proactively, I know we're accomplishing a lot of things with that we wouldn't be able to do before. The school resource officers, the details, we're already hearing tremendous things. I mean, these people are our role models in our community, and to have the opportunity for them to be in the schools, to have the police car parked out front, to have a teacher, or employee, or a student know that we have someone on campus all the time to be there for their needs is something that's just unbelievable. Other aspects of that that are playing in, that are working into our play, we had a situation the other day where one of the food service workers was out, so the SRO started giving out the food a little bit. So at the end of lunch, the student goes up to the principal and says, "Man, that guy in the blue uniform, he's really nice." And the principal says, "Of course he is." She said, "No, every time that guy in the blue uniform comes to my door, he's knocking on the door and taking somebody away." I didn't realize he could be a nice guy too. So just think about 5, 10 years from now, those relationships that these students are building with law enforcement, relationships that they're building with the mental health providers. It will certainly benefit this community, this parish for many years to come. Safety upgrades are on more and more cameras and putting those where they need to be. We're working on pilots in some schools right now to do secure entry points. You know, these schools, some of our schools are old. Slidell High School, for example, where I worked at one time, I think they had 100 doors that opened to the outside. It was built in a neighborhood, and that's what we wanted, neighborhood schools. But it's different now. So we're building doors, the key fobs that you have where you can get yourself in and out, IDs, we'll be able to lock doors, unlock doors. Once the tardy bell rings, every perimeter door will lock, and if somebody goes from class to class, they'll have to pull out their ID and swipe it and open the door. So we're looking at that as an opportunity. I don't want our schools to be prisons. I don't want big chain fences. We think this perimeter gates can do much of the same thing, and that's what we're working on. And that's the access control as well, where you would use your student ID, your adult ID to help you get in and out of school. I mentioned the role that SROs and details are playing. There's a short video I wanted to share with you that shows the impact that we're making already in our schools with the support of law enforcement.
I think it's important that we have the resources of an MHP and an SRO to help our students become positive citizens in our community and help the students become the best that they can be.
Having all the SROs in the schools is important because number one, you're establishing those community relationships, which in hopes will go on forever. And the idea is to make our community stronger.
The mental health professionals and SROs are not necessarily just there for people who are going to have lifetime chronic mental illnesses. This can affect every single student that we have in our school system. It's hard to tell the difference if you're not a trained professional between a kid being a kid and something we need to watch out for. And that's why you need licensed, trained individuals to distinguish between the two things.
That's why it's so important for us to have an MHP here on campus every day.
Us being here at the school and establishing those rapports and relationships with the kids as well as staff I think it's a positive thing. We're moving in the right direction.
So this isn't just a school system thing. This isn't just a business thing. This is why we live here. This is what embodies Louisiana. We're here for our neighbor. We don't just look at issues in St. Tammany and turn our back and say it's somebody else's problem. We look at them and we work together to make them better, to make this place better.
We owe it to our students to give them the best that we can give them. We owe them a place they can come and learn and become our future community leaders. We owe this beautiful St. Tammany Parish school system, these children, the best we can give them.
It really was.
I didn't tell Nick he was going to be on the video. I was hoping he'd wearing the same tie today that he was wearing at the connection that I did. But we have a great relationship with Nick and Nami, and they certainly work with us each and every day, and it is a partnership for sure. So we're leading the way by providing support for our students to succeed from pre-K to beyond graduation. Now, more than ever, the earlier we can get a student, the better chance we have of making a difference in their life. The school, the state has partnered with our pre-K programs. We had 39 network partners, pre-K programs across the parish that work with us, that we share information with, we share resources with, we share the goods and bads of what's going on. 9 of our early childhood programs were rated excellent, so it's an opportunity at an early age. We know the sooner we can get a student into our classrooms, the better opportunity they will be to grow and give them chances and give them choices, and it helps us in our school system and everything that we're able to accomplish as well. So the early childhood program is something that's new for us, but it's certainly something that's been very beneficial to our school system and what we're trying to accomplish. Speaking of early childhood, this is next week for me. This is probably one of the 2 or 3 best days that I have in the school system that I absolutely love. We started this 4 years ago. We go to every kindergarten. There's about 2,300 kindergartners. I'll pick out 2 or 3 schools, and we go give each and every one of them a class of, next year will be 2032 t-shirt. So all the kindergartners get a class of 2032 t-shirt next week. Their parents get a letter that says, welcome to our school system. Can't wait to have your child, want to make a difference in your child's life. So it's an opportunity for us to reach out to them right from the very beginning, make them feel welcome, make them feel a part of what we're trying to do. Last year we gave these out on a Thursday. I was in the Target in Mattisville on Sunday afternoon, and there was a little boy who still had his t-shirt on. And his mom said, I can't get him to take that thing off. So he wore it the whole time. But one of my favorite stories of giving out the t-shirts was a couple years ago, but it's so good. So we're finishing up, and there's one little boy, he's just kind of like circling around me. So I can tell he wants to tell me something. So the whole class goes back, and I look, and there he still is. So I like, come on over here. He says, Mr. Folse? I said, yes. And he says, can I tell you something? I said, yes. And this is a kindergartner now. So he takes this deep, dramatic pause. And I'm like, wow, what in the world? And then he says, Mr. Folse? I said, yes. Today you're giving me my t-shirt, but in the blink of an eye, and he does it just like that, in the blink of an eye, you'll be giving me my high school diploma. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. So I'm high-fiving him. I said, man, when did you come up with that? He said, no, sir, me and my mama practiced that all last night. I said, well, that's still good, so I gave him another high five. So he's going away, and I pull him back. I said, let me just assure you that Mr. Folse will not be giving you your high school diploma in 12 years. But I'm thinking Mr. Jabbia will still be around. So that's next week. It's an awesome day. Like I said, 2,300 kindergartners. Each school kind of knows how to take their pictures in a group in a certain way, and then we kind of Photoshop that into one big, huge picture of all these kindergarten students with their shirts on. They get to use that as a uniform shirt. So it's an opportunity for them, but also an opportunity for us to welcome them and their families into our school system. Workforce, I know Will's here, Will Wainwright is here. We have an unbelievable working relationship with him and North Shore Technical Community College and everything that goes on. Look at these numbers, 1,500 dual enrollment credit courses on high school students getting college credits. over 5,200 industry-based certifications and career tech programs, opportunities for students each and every day. And I know the challenges are there for college and universities and everything that goes like that, but I know the technical issues and all we can do in the technical colleges and all the opportunities that we have there. And I think that's something that we're continuing to grow. I know we're trying to give students as many opportunities as possible, that it's okay if you're not going to college, there are other opportunities for you, and you can be quite successful doing that. The biggest challenge is not the students, the biggest challenge is the adults. So we all have to do our part to make sure everyone realizes that there are opportunities. There's nothing wrong with saying you're going into a career tech field, and there's nothing wrong with the opportunities for there. That's how we're working with the technical college to do that. And I can tell you in the last 2, 3, 4 years, we're making significant inroads in that. Some big picture numbers for us. I think it's important to celebrate our successes. Over 2,300 students graduated last year. 3 years ago, we started, all of our graduations are at Southeastern. In Hammond, a little bit of a drive, but the only place that's big enough to hold everyone. So we go there and we video stream our graduations live, totally live, from the very beginning. Well, the student, this is gonna be on camera, the students think it's live, but there's really like a 5-second delay. Total honesty, just to be sure. So we do these graduations live. I can tell you we've gotten tremendous feedback. We've always recorded them and showed them 2 days later, but there's something like a ball game. There's something about watching it live. I've heard some of the nicest emails from military people that couldn't come, but now get to watch their relatives graduate. I had a grandmother tell me she was sick in the hospital. She set the laptop up in her hospital bed and got to watch her granddaughter graduate live. We tie into Southeastern Soundboard, their cameras, it streams it. The views that we get are amazing. Everybody says that's a really long week, a hard week, but it's the best week of the school year. We did 8 graduations in 6 days last year. We had 3 on a Saturday, but it's awesome. It's the best thing. Over $100 million of top funding and scholarship money earned by last year's class in 2019. You saw National Merit 9 last year. I think we had 10 this year, so we continue to work hard on that. 63% of our students scored 3 or above on the AP test. And then I'm really proud of this. The ACT score of 21.7 is highest in the state and above the national average. The ACT score resonates with everyone as much as anything we say. When I present to different chambers and rotaries and all that, I think because we've all either had to take the ACT, I'm not going to tell you what my ACT score was, I don't want y'all to tell me, but I think now more than ever people resonate with them, the ACT, it's on a national norm, it's being challenged. So I think it's an opportunity for us to do that. We work hard on that, and I'm really proud of that number. As I mentioned, it's very high up in the state and it's above the national average. So I think that's an important indicator and factor that we work hard at, and shows that we're trending in the right direction with that. Started this 4 years ago, and probably one of the best things that I've ever done. I created a student advisory panel. I meet with these 32 students once or twice a month. There are 4 students from each high school, 1 freshman, 1 sophomore, 1 junior, and 1 senior from each of the high schools. 32 students, me and a couple central office people, no administrators. Administrators drive them there, we drop them off, and then we talk, and we share. Yes, hurry up, 5 minutes, okay? We hurry up, we share. We talk a lot about what we have going on. They're very brutally honest with me. First couple months I couldn't get them to talk, now I can't get them to stop talking. But they share a lot of good ideas with us, and we talk a lot of things that are going on. They're really, really a great group of students. We'll meet again next week for the first time. I'm looking forward to see them all. When they graduate from high school, we give them a cord that shows an advisory panel, and they've already told me what their first topic is going to be when we meet again. Is going to be community service. They want to put in a real community service component, so that students can be required to do community service as part of their graduation. So I'm excited to hear about that. One guy wrote me and said he's already been doing research, found out what other school systems are doing, so he's going to make us a part of that. Support within our community. We have partners in education, whether it be government, whether it be community, whether it be law enforcement, and whether it be business. I know we have a lot of elected officials here, and our relationship, this board relationship, my relationship with government and elected officials, I will put that up against anyone, anywhere, anytime. And when I share that with other superintendents, the relationship I have with our parish president, with others that work with us, all the different elected officials that we have with us, the DA's office, all those different opportunities that I can say that we have a relationship with is important to the success of our school system and everything that we have going on. So I'm really proud of that, and I know we work hard about this as well. Our assessor's office, we talked about the relationship we have with them. We talked about how we get information from them. All this goes hand in hand. Business, Marty involves me in a lot of things from that area. I sit on both chambers. We have the ribbon cutting at the technical college. All these things help us to be the best that we can be. Had to throw this in here. Take a look at this. This is what this job will do to you. 2008, I received the Excellence in Government Capital One Bank Keller Award for Innovation 11 years ago. And this was after Hurricane Katrina. And this is after our rebuild, BGR, brought us to New Orleans and presented us with this award. So I had to throw that in there. We found that the other day when we were serving I had my hair parted down the middle. I had hair. So I'm good, right? Not too bad. Our schools and our future, all these things go hand in hand. We know with these law enforcement, we know the quality of life, we know what unemployment, public health, and public safety. We believe, as large as we are, the bigger parts we have in this community, that we want to be in the middle of this. I know, and businesses tell me all the time, if our school system is successful, then their business can be successful. Conversely, if our school system struggles, then it's a bad look on their business. So it is a team. It's everyone working together to make St. Tammany the best that it can be, and that's what we're committed to doing. We have social media. Each and every day we talk about telling our own story. Don't wait for someone else to tell it. We have the largest social media following of any school system in the state of Louisiana, the highest of anyone. With the push of a button, we can tell a story. And I think you people, the jobs that you're in, know people want to hear good news. People want to see their students. People want to see what's going on. And we try to do that each and every day. Along the lines of good news, 2 days ago, any of y'all know who Flat Stanley is? Okay. 2 days ago, I got this letter from Miss Cannon's class at Brock Elementary School, sending me Flat Stanley. He made his first appearance at a school board meeting. He's like, whoa, a school board meeting. So then Saturday, he went to the LSU game with me. Sunday, he went to the Saints game, and we both cried on the way home about Breeze's injury. I had him here with me today, so before we leave, if we could get a big group picture with Flat Stanley that I can take back. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to go back and take that with us, and Miss Gammon's 5th grade class at Brock Elementary will be happy to do that. So, oh yeah, here he is at the school board meeting. So he made his first, I got it in the mail Thursday afternoon, and he made his first appearance at the school board meeting Thursday night. And since then, he's been all over the place. So we'll get a group picture today and do that as well. So that's what we're trying to do. I know I ran, did I do okay on time? Okay, I did good on time. I wanted to finish up like I was told. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for coming. I know when the alarm clock went off this morning, you're like, oh, probably didn't want to come to this, but I appreciate you being here. And again, let me just say what an honor it is to serve as superintendent for the last 10 years of the school system. And I'm honor and privilege to have each of you as my friends and my supporters. I value that. I do not take it for granted, and I thank God each and every day for this opportunity, as well as for each of you and what you do for me and the difference you make in my life. So I thank you that very much.
Great information and excellent stories. In keeping with BGR's tradition, we have a few questions from the audience. Number one, you've talked a little bit about the district's performance on state ratings. What trends are emerging and what's behind those trends?
Well, I think the biggest, I mean, you mentioned that we went from an A to a B to a letter grade to a score. We're looking at that, trying to figure out exactly what that is. I think the biggest challenge for us, and I think you're going to see this from the state, is to make sure it's consistent each and every year, apples to apples, so we can know what we can judge ourselves against. It seems like the criteria changes every year. We're being told that it's going to stay the same. So once that happens, we can do that. We have some challenges with curriculum. We have a large group of people that do not believe in some of the Common Core and the Eureka math and other things that are going along with that. But it's part of what we're being tested on. So you cannot expect a child to do good on something that you do not test them on. So we need to work together as a school system, as a board, to get where we need to be, and then to allow our teachers to teach what we need to teach so that we can see those positive results. I think you'll see that. I mentioned Amy LeMays, our new assistant superintendent. She's dove into it big time, a new fresh set of eyes on it, and hopefully we'll see some progress there as well.
Do you think the state ratings give an accurate picture of student achievement in the district?
I think there are parts of it that do, but I say this all the time, and I know the board believes the same thing. As long as I'm superintendent, we will never, ever, never, ever judge a child on only a letter grade or a test score. I feel that strongly about that. To me, there's so much more to a child than a letter grade or a test score. If we sit there and look at this child and say, you're an A, you're a 1 or whatever, I failed. How can I say every child every day and say, you're just a test score, you're just a letter grade? Certainly it's important, but I guarantee it's not the only thing that makes a well-rounded person.
Member of the audience asks, my 3 children were educated by the St. Tammany Parish School Board. I'm not pleased with the emphasis on testing. I see stress in children and good teachers leaving, not enough vocational training.
Agreed. State requirements. Agreed. Totally agree.
Are there achievement gaps in the district? If so, where are the gaps and how is the district working to
I think that's what we mentioned. We're trying to determine what the gaps are. We're hoping that we can go year to year to be consistent so we can apply apples to apples and see. Certainly math is a challenge for us right now, so I think that's where we are on that.
So let me go back to that question from the audience. I mean, if you agree, what are you doing
working
to
with the state,
resolve it?
working with the state regulators and Bessie board members and other people to get a common ground that we can all believe in.
A member of the audience says it's disappointing that we have to have all of these graduations outside of our parish. What can be done to build a venue to host these events?
Listen to me sometime.
We would support that. We would totally support that. It's important to have it inside. We used to have it outside. I remember one in Slide, Ohio, the termites were so bad it looked like it was snowing. Sound systems work inside. You know, everybody gets tickets. We actually, before we moved everybody inside, we had some people putting tickets on eBay and StubHub. So we need to get to a big location. That's where we are. I would love to have something in the parish. It would be awesome.
Is St. Tammany Parish facing any difficulties attracting and retaining teachers either across the board or in certain schools or subject areas? If so, what are you doing about that?
Math, Mr. Javia, math and special ed for certainly. We had 600 people at our job fair for 125 positions, so we still have, and we have certificate teachers in each and every classroom. But the challenges are there for math and special ed and other subjects like that. We have a total number of teachers that are enough, but we certainly could use some more in those areas as well.
And is the district ensuring enough teachers and high quality teachers in all schools? Does teacher recruitment require more resources now?
I don't think so. I mean, I think battling other school systems for the best teacher, that's just like in your jobs. If there's a really good person, we're going to all fight for that best person. That's what we try to do in our job fairs.
Social media has created a lot of challenges for you. Can you discuss that? What kind of challenges has it created, and how are you trying to address it?
It really is. I mentioned at the superintendent's meeting the other day, social media, just the, one of the other superintendents used the term keyboard bullies. And I thought that was a pretty good term because being anonymous in that, and then sometimes we're able to run down some of the people that put some of the things. Then I'll bring it to my office and we'll sit in chairs next to each other and talk. I don't even feel like I'm talking to the same person who wrote that message. So we're able to work through that. That's from a parent point of view. The social media and law enforcement can talk about this. On the students is just unbelievable. So many things happen outside of school on the weekend, and then they come and we have to deal with them on Monday morning. And so much of it deals with social media. And any student that believes that they posted it and it just goes away, it never goes away. And that's what we deal with. And a lot of times, these are challenges that come about with things that happened in the neighborhood, people posting things about each other, and then coming to school for the first time they see each other after the neighborhood, and then wanting to settle all the things that are going on. So the social media aspect, that the 24/7, 365 of that has certainly changed my job unbelievably. There's not one single moment that we're not on call. We have someone that pretty much stays up all night dealing with Crime Stoppers, tips, and everything that goes along with that. There's not any time that we're not available in dealing with things. If we have an issue, we talk to law enforcement. They will go knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not gonna wait till the next school day. That's what I'm talking about, the relationship we have with law enforcement. They will go there and we try to deal with the situation. But the 24/7, 365 of that has changed unbelievably in the 10 years that I've been superintendent.
A member of the audience asks, what's your position on charter schools in St. Tammany?
I don't want one. I don't want it. I think we can do it. I know we can do it. And I know we can offer everything that we need to do. And I want to say this too. I think it's important. Your slides, the slides that I saw here are public schools, but we have some great private schools and non-public schools in this parish as well. And I'm friends with all those people. I talked to Father Charles, Brother Ray, all these different people. At the end of the day, all these kids are our kids in St. Tammany Parish. They have some challenges, we have some challenges. We talk all the time, we share all the time. So I think it's important for us to be successful, for all of us to support each other. Different people go to schools for different reasons. I never second guess that on anyone. And I want us to be a parish that supports all of our students, no matter where they go to school. And I feel very strongly about that.
The school board's been looking at creating an internal auditor position. How would you describe the need, and what would the best way be to ensure transparency and independence for the internal auditor?
And I'm actually the person that recommended to the board that we have the internal auditor. So I think it is important. We're working right now with the board members to come up with a job description that will meet their needs as well as meet the school system needs. So we're in the middle of working through that. I think an internal auditor is very important to give us another look. We get audited by many different people, many different agencies all the time, but another set of eyes that was independent, that could report back to us and help us. Our bookkeepers, our principals, all of our people, if you can teach them a better way to do something, they're gonna do it. And I think this internal auditor person with experiences coming in to do that could share that with us, and it would just be another set of eyes and another thing to make sure that we're as transparent as we can be. So I totally support it.
A member of the audience asks, should the internal auditor report directly to the school board?
I don't believe, I think they should report to both.
On demographics, how has the district enrollment grown or changed in the last decade?
Oh, in the last decade, I mean, I know since Hurricane Katrina, well, I mean, we've been averaging maybe 100 or so growth. This year, I think we grew about 100 students for this school year. So I'm not sure. Pete, you know, over the last 10 years, the total
Demographics?
the
Or
growth.
total growth? No, I would say.
I mean, we average, I mean, it fluctuates, but this year we're thinking we're about 100 or so students over. Which you always want to grow some. I'll take a little bit of growth sometime. I think that's good. The Madisonville area, we're certainly growing a lot in the Madisonville area. But I think the growth that we have now, we can certainly sustain.
And I understand people are moving to St. Tammany because of the schools. So what's the projection for the growth in the next decade?
I mean, different people show different numbers. We're doing a 3-story building at Mandeville High right now. We're totally experiencing growth issues there. As I mentioned, the Madisonville area, I think we're going to have to either look at another school down the road or some redistricting. Some of our other high schools have some areas that are available. But, you know, redistricting is a touchy subject. Everybody wants everybody else's child to go to another school, but not theirs. So you have to work hard on that.
Member of the audience asks, what are your thoughts on a magnet school, perhaps focusing on arts or science?
I'm really not in favor of magnet schools. I believe that we can offer the same things at our schools. I want every child to have that total experience at their school. I think the arts that we had Covington High perform the other day. I would put their arts up against anyone. I think we can do the same thing and have all the other experiences at the same time.
Can you outline plans for using the revenue from the recent bond issue, $175 million, and the improvements that will result from that plan? How will facilities support student achievement?
Yeah, there's 14, I want to say there's 15 schools that are getting different constructions. We've got the whole brochure, and certainly can get that for anybody that needs it. But they're designated the schools, what they're building, and the other money goes to the SROs and the mental health providers as well, and the technology that I put in the PowerPoint.
Where do you see the most demand for new or expanded school facilities in the parish, and will the facilities plan address the growth areas?
Madisonville is where the growth's the biggest.
Madisonville?
Yes, sir.
You talked about safety and security, and you've adopted some of the Sandy Hook Promise programs. Can you tell us about that?
Sandy Hook is actually coming to Folsom Junior High School, and they have a program that it starts with hello. And and all it means is identifying and speaking and making relationships. So they're coming to us. We applied for a grant, we got the grant. They picked our school system as an opportunity to come. So we're going to be having a big presentation at Folsom Junior High School. They're bringing in speakers, they're bringing others, and we're hoping just to grow that. And as it says, it starts with the hello. Just an opportunity to see what other students are doing, what they're going through, reach out and be there with them. The mental health provider aspect that we talked about certainly ties into that as well.
And I think there's an aspect of where you're asking students if you see something to
Correct.
say something. Isn't that a big emphasis?
Yeah. We had a whole theme on if you see something, say something. And the whole thing is, whether you think it's important or not, tell us, let us tell law enforcement, and then we can decide. So if you see anything at all, tell us that as well. We met with Mr. Warren and the DA and his staff, and as well as law enforcement last year, all at the table together. And the consensus of all of us was, bring it to us, then let us decide where it needs to go from there. Do not think anything is too little to talk about. And that's the same thing we preach to the principals, we then preach it to their teachers. We never want something, oh, I knew about it, but I just didn't think it was a big deal, I just let it go. And then something happens.
Have you had success with that?
I think so. I think we're moving in the right direction. I mean, I know that we're spending a lot of time, we're using a lot of resources of the DA's office, a lot of resources of the sheriff's office and law enforcement, but at the end of the day, the first time we don't do something is when we're gonna get in trouble. I mean, we talked about it the other day, somebody saying, I can't believe we're spending this amount of money on school safety and security. What's the alternative? And I told that to a reporter the other day, we can either do these kind of proactive things and put as many layers as we can, knowing that nothing is 100%, or we can bury our head in the sand and say it could never happen again. And if we do that, we're totally fooling ourselves.
How has relatively stagnant state funding affected the district?
Well, you see the numbers that we have. I think we're blessed in St. County Parish to have support of the local taxpayers. Because of that, we're doing fine. We're doing good.
Maybe you've already, maybe it's safety and security. Are there any areas where you see costs rising really fast, and how is the district dealing with the increases?
I think we're dealing with those with this millage renewal, and we're going to be able to cover that with the SROs and the mental health providers, and the money that we're dealing with construction, 15 projects that we have going on with that.
Can you discuss unfunded needs and priorities?
I mean, priorities to us are to get our letter grade back as high as we can get it. That's our number one priority. Second, well, I shouldn't say it's number one, it's number two. Number one is every child, every day. And number two is going to be test scores and everything else.
And how do you get that letter grade back? What's
Well, as we talked about, we have a new assistant superintendent looking at that. We're hoping apples to apples where we compare last year to this year. So that's the challenges with that.
What is Tier 1 curriculum, and when is it required? How have St. Tammany's Parish schools used it?
Jeez, Tier 1 deals with different math components and everything that goes along with that. That's part of the controversy that goes with it. The state gives you some Tier 1 materials. If you use them, they're tied directly to testing, and that's the challenge that goes with that. Some
How
people
is,
like it, some people believe you shouldn't use it.
How do you feel about it?
I'm going to do whatever I can to what's best for all of our kids and try to find some common ground. That's part of my job. Got 15 school board members that have a decision. I am to follow their policies.
How is the district dealing with parent and teacher concerns over curriculum?
Just as I said, trying to come up with a common, and I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over. These are the challenges that we deal with every day to get with the state, to find common ground, 15 board members in our public and the Bessie board in the state, so that we can test well, do well, but at the same time not sacrifice everything else that's important in the growth of a child.
Is there an increasing interest and demand for career and technical education?
Oh, absolutely. Will Wainwright's here, and the work that we're doing with them and a number of students. Saw the PowerPoint slide that shows them. And as I mentioned, it's not the students that don't want to do it a lot of time, it's the adults. So we all have to look at ourselves and say, what's best for our child? And for some people, maybe a career tech opportunity is better than college.
It struck me in your presentation about the poverty so many children are dealing with. That has to be especially difficult for the teachers. I mean, is there a special program to help them understand and deal with that?
Sure. I mean, I think it's a bit different from school to school in their experiences. I mean, the teacher knows how to deal with a student. I mean, the teacher has those experiences. When you see the 43% free and reduced lunch, and again, that's a challenge with the state. Some people want to say that poverty has no impact on a child's letter grade or test score or his ability to learn. every child can learn no matter what, but I think we need to make sure that we are in touch with what those child's challenges are, what they're going through before they get to school, so that we can get the best out of them, not only from an academic point of view, but from a successful career point of view.
And early childhood education, you're in favor of that, you think that's really
The
important?
slide that we use on that, reaching out earlier than possible, getting these students as soon as we can, making a difference in their life. I mean, studies show that when you have a student at an earlier age, they're going to be more successful. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right, Mr. Folse, thank you so much for the presentation. Folse, thank you all for being here.
All right, Flat Stanley, if you can stay for Flat Stanley picture, please.
Thanks
do.
again to Iberia Bank for its generous sponsorship of the Breakfast Briefing, to Hornbeck Offshore for hosting our event. Thanks to all of you for being with us. We hope this Breakfast Briefing has been informative, and we'll see you again at future BGR events. Have a great day.